Have I been converted to dark romance? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alice. We talk about books, we do lifestyle vlogs, car vlogs, a little bit of everything. You'll find something that you like. So consider hitting that subscribe button, come on in, join the family. It is free and you can unsubscribe at any time. So, you know, try something new today. Give it a go on. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. Let's get on with today's video. Today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it again, dark romance. We're really going to think about how we're developing on dark romance, what we're okay with, what we're not okay with, and how we're feeling about the genre on the whole, alright? Just a quick disclaimer, obviously dark romance is maybe not everybody's cup of tea, and also always read the trigger warnings before reading any book, but especially dark romance because they normally have more severe themes in them, so we want happy and safe readers out there. I've said my piece, please do it, thank you. These are just some examples of some dark romance I've read recently. Now, this, okay. Some of the other books in the series, better. So, what's the difference between and that's what we're thinking. As far as I'm aware, the bounds of dark romance are endless. I think you can pretty much talk about anything, anyone, any situation ever and make it dark romance in some sort of way by involving some intense themes, okay? Either one of the characters has some kind of trauma or some kind of issue with something. One of the other characters is involved in something probably very illegal. That kind of vibe, we make it dark romance, okay? Basically, when you read dark romance, all bets are off, all cards are on the table. You can literally, the world's your oyster kind of thing. You can go as you please. Obviously, there's usually a lot of spice in dark romance books because that is one of the things that makes it, I guess, sort of a darker romance, is that normally in romance books they're quite light and fluffy, or if they're not, they're still not particularly sexual. That is obviously part of the genre. Now obviously they're slightly different because you do have erotica as well, which is a different genre, so it's not quite the same as dark romance, but couple the spice with some, let's say, sus themes, then you get dark romance. So my thing is that when I read dark romance, I kind of just desensitize from it. I try, like, sometimes I'm a bit like, well, that's a bit too far, do you know what I mean? That's a bit much. But for the most part, I try to just read it from an enjoyable stance. Sometimes it's not enjoyable. Now, my one thing I will say, and I definitely think it is reflected through all dark romance books I've read thus far, up until this date, there is definitely a Wattpad-esque-ness about them, and there's definitely a cringy element that I can't always get over. I find it quite hard to sort of sit there and go, yeah. So, number one thing that makes it cringe usually is there's some kind of nickname. It's either something stupid like their name but just in a slightly different way, or it's something that, like, I get that it's meant to be hot but it's just so cringy, like, do you know what I mean? It's not, oh, you lost baby girl, but it's giving that vibe. And probably some books are baby girl or princess, you know, and I get it, it's fun, but it's also not. Oh gosh, do you know what I mean? And sometimes, to be fair, sometimes there are some nicknames that I think, okay, they're quite sweet, like I get why you've done that, but then I can't take it seriously when it gets said in certain situations, specifically spy situations. I'm like, I've killed the vibe now, do you know what I mean? Basically, there's different aspects and different elements for dark romance, and you're going to enjoy some, you're not going to enjoy the other. For example, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with just how wild dark romance is. I hate it because I'm like, oh gosh, we can get away with anything. Like, is this what we become, you know? But I also love it because it's so unpredictable and so wild, and you just think, wow, I did not see that coming. Like, you genuinely couldn't have thought up that plot. So I do definitely like that because it does keep me on my toes. Now, my experience of dark romance so far isn't that extensive. I have read the Devil's Night series. Obviously, I feel like I've read a lot of dark romance Wattpad in my day, but we're not really counting that. I've read Hooked, and I'm almost finished with the Twisted Love series. So I would say that I've kind of covered the base of, let's say, cult classics. I feel like the Devil's Night series is quite a big thing, Penelope Douglas, and I feel like also the Twisted Love series is quite a big thing as well. Although I will say that's more on the romantic side. Like, it's definitely dark romance, but it wasn't as dark romance as Penelope Douglas, in my opinion. Anyway, so this one, for example, I didn't enjoy so much, but I have heard that the second and third and fourth one, etc., are a lot better than the first one. I don't know whether, like, I definitely will go back to the next ones. I have no desire at this moment in time, but I will go back to the series, and I'll let you know my proper thoughts on this series when we get there. But this wasn't my favourite because this was very cringy, very far-fetched, and very unnecessary in places, and it was quite like dark and quite a lot, to be honest. It was quite gory as well, and I just think it was a bit much for me, but someone else might love this. See, this is the thing. I think everyone probably has their limit with genres, and especially with dark romance, there's probably like a certain limit you go to. I feel like the Twisted series is a lot more comfortable for me, even though there's a lot going on in there that, you know, they have some past and they've all got parental issues of some sort and stuff like that. Like, I feel more, I don't want to say connected because that's the wrong word, but I feel like I can get behind the story a little bit more. Does that make sense? With the Devil's Night series, I enjoyed some of it I was a bit like, oh, did we have to? To be honest, I feel like I enjoyed Damon and Will's parts more than the other two, but also at the same time, they all just became a bit wet wipey. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought, if you're gonna write a good character, let's kind of, you know, keep that good character going. So, I don't know, maybe I haven't found my exact part I want to read yet. So I know that some of the other popular books in this genre, you're probably going to be like, no, you haven't covered the base at all because you haven't read this and you haven't read that and you haven't read this. And I know, I'm very aware of that, but I'm trying to get a little bit of each part of the genre. So for example, I'm trying to build myself up to be able to read Haunting Adeline. Now that feels like that's going to be a bit much. I do feel like that's going to be a bit much, but I'm still happy to give it a go nonetheless. Do you know what I mean? You know, if you want me to review it as well, then I absolutely have to do it. But I feel like that is something I would like to try and read, just to see how far, just to see the scope of this genre, because it is nice to try new genres and it is nice to give different books a go. I mean, I'm definitely a little bit scared of it, I'll be honest. But, you know, it's fine. You've also got the books that are called, is it like The Sinner? Something like that, Sacrifice, or something along that lines. There's like a man on the cover. Well, that's not very helpful in the dark room. Do you know, that's another thing. I judge the covers, the ones that have all of the, like, have just the very attractive men on the front. I much prefer a cover like this. These covers are fantastic. I wouldn't like them if they had the men on the front, I'll be honest. So I'm glad that those exist. And also, I mean, like, Hooked isn't bad either, it's a clock, so that's good. I don't like the pictures of the faces and whatnot on the front. I'd probably get them on the Kindle if that was the case. There's also, is it called The Maddest Obsession? We haven't really gone too much into the old Mafia vibe yet. I mean, we've had a little bit of the vibe with Hooked, but not too much into it. So that's definitely something we'll have to explore as well. See how we like that. And then I know that they get quite intense. I definitely am very interested to read Anna Huang's other series. Is it The Kings of Sin? Yeah, you know the ones I'm talking about with like the rings on the front. It's like King of Greed or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so I'd quite like to read those, but again, because I feel like I quite like Anna Huang, like she still writes really well, and I think that's maybe one thing actually that unlocks probably the crux of it. I think I can deal with the cringe more when the quality of the writing is really good. So, you know, when you still have these moments that you're like, oh wow, yes, that line was really great, or oh, I'm so glad they included that in, or I'm so glad I did this, I'm so glad I did that. When that's still going really great, I don't mind it as much, but it's when the writing starts to slip a little bit and it gets a bit cringy and we've kind of gone into this, I want to say like easy vibe, then I think I just get a little bit like, oh. You know, like I want it to keep me on my toes. I want it to keep me guessing. I want to have that element in it as well. So, you know, maybe it's just reading around, finding out what works best for me. Have you read dark romance before? Or do you have any recommendations? Let me know in the comments down below. I will say I'm definitely still a bit terrified of some of the reads that are out there, and we will give it a go at some point. But I just feel like you got to try things in life, haven't you? you've got to give them a go. Why not? Why not? I tried to get a balance. Once I finish the Twisted Lies, I'm going to try and go to some other genres for a little bit of time, and then we'll definitely circle back around to the dark romance. So I shall be waiting eagerly for your recommendations. So go on, drop me one in the comments down below. But yeah, I think on the whole, I'm definitely liking this genre more than I expected to like it. I'll tell you that. I'm still not fully convinced. I don't think it will ever be my favourite genre, but I think I'll very much be happy to read it. And I like to just keep a bit of diverse genre, you know. We love a bit of fantasy, we love romance, we're happy to read a bit of dark romance, definitely happy to go into the classics realm, trying a little bit of the scary horror realm for spooky season. I also love a good mystery, a good thriller, so I do like to keep it as varied as I can. I think it does you good to have a different style of things. If you're reading the same kind of genre all the time, then sometimes it burns you out a little bit, so it's nice to have different genres you can go back and forth to. Going back and forth to different genres also might give you a little bit of burnout, so then you have like your favorite ones which you can go and then sort of comfort read and do that. So that's my thoughts on dark romance at the moment. What are yours? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Have you subscribed? Thank you very much. And without further ado, until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye. Can hit a legend.